Hello, everyone. Diana Rankin here, and it's so good to be with you. I hope we have a decent internet connection through our time together today. We've had some snowstorms and ice storms come through, and the whole country here, the whole East Coast, West Coast. Well, I don't know about the West Coast right now, but here in Ohio, we got a little hammered up in the area where I am. So we've got a lot of ice outside, and my electricity is back on. I am very grateful for that. We did lose electricity last night about midnight, but my electrical company is terrific, and so they had it back on. They said it would be three. They first said it would be 2:55, and then they came back and said no, it'd be 3:21, and it was on easily by 3 o'clock. So in the morning, not this afternoon. So I'm really grateful to have electricity and a furnace working and all of that. We're going to answer a viewer's questions about the Akashic Records today, and I know that is pronounced differently by different people. Some say, I'm trying to remember how some people do say it, but I tend to say the Akashic Records. So however you say it, I'm sure it's correct. But Phillip is going to answer questions about that. We will also get a message from one of my books that Phillip, my spirit guide, put together. And this is, as you know, just an oracle book. And so we'll just open to any page and get wisdom for our lives. And I hope wherever you are safe and you're healthy, and that we're going to just catch our breath and remember those who had weather a little bit worse than I'm experiencing. And hopefully none of you are experiencing terrible weather where you are, wherever you are in the world. And right now, if you're in Australia, you're probably having much better weather than we are in Ohio. Okay, let's get going with our question for the week. This is a question from one of the viewers about the Akashic Records. Can we tap into our own, or is there a universal Akashic record we can tap into? And here's what Phillip has to say about that. Let us begin. Excuse me. A little hoarse there, aren't I? Let us begin by explaining what the Akashic Record is. This is a term that was given to people that evolved from Sanskrit in what today is referred to as the ancient times. Over the evolution of time, it has become popularized. The most familiar and most modern known name is Edgar Cayce. The Akashic Record is simply a term for the energy, or as the human Carl Jung called it, the collective unconscious. We call it the higher consciousness or the energy. Whatever term is most comfortable for the individual is what can be used. If it is helpful to envision a library where one can stroll through to find the sought after record, then that is what the individual is to refer to. If it helps the person to envision diving into the sea of the unconscious or subconscious, then that is how this process will be helped. If it is helpful to imagine moving into the vast unknown of the night sky and out into the universe, then that is what the individual will do. If the individual is understanding that all is energy, that all is taking place in the present, that everything is connected, then tapping into one's soul line and also tapping into universal wisdom is certainly possible. We do lay out a caution here. Although on a daily basis, humans often tap into the energy of higher wisdom, or if you will, the higher consciousness of the collective consciousness. You do this when meditating, when praying, when creating or journaling. You do this also in the dream time. So I think every writer, every artist, every creative person, Einstein in the sciences, mathematicians when they're really into architects, everyone when they're really into that creative process, you're tapping into that collective unconsciousness or that collective higher consciousness. Philip goes on to say, when tapping into the collective consciousness is done naturally, all is well. It is when someone becomes curious about their soul line or that of another that caution should be taken. When all happens naturally, there is no force, and all unfolds in a manner that humans can handle. If, however, curiosity has no purpose, the floodgates may open and overwhelm the individual. Although all records, all information is available to everyone, not everyone is ready to receive. Too much information can overwhelm the human portion of the mind and render the individual incapable of needed functional consciousness in the third dimension. This is not to say that one who has desire to learn more about themselves and to live more from their higher self should not tap into higher wisdom consciousness. Just do so with awareness. It is often helpful to work with a teacher or trainer who is familiar with the task. If we remember the vastness of the energy, or if you prefer, the Akashic Records, it is wise to remember that everything that has ever been, all thoughts, all words, all deeds, all nature, all is recorded. This includes the soul line you are currently experiencing and the soul line for alternate lives in parallel worlds. This is not something the human mind can comprehend, let alone open the floodgates to. We suggest that rather than opening to all records, you open to those affecting the current life you are experiencing. How can this knowledge help you and also help you to live your soul's mission and help others? That which the conscious mind blocks comes in the dream time. So if we are unable to get it in our waking time and we have a question, we want to tap in to find out, is there another life experience I've had in what we call a past life, or in an alternate parallel world, and that I'm having another life experiences, or I'm also having this one that I can tap into to learn how to better work with this, whatever the issue is in this life. We can tap in to this wisdom from other lives. We can also tap into, why am I having this issue in this life, to see it from what we might call a past life or a life in a parallel world. So we can tap into these lives. Philip just wants us to do it safely. And if our conscious human mind says, no, 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 that's too much information, but we are supposed to know it, it will come to us in a dream. So all we have to do is start remembering our dreams and writing them down to then look at them. Okay, Philip goes on to say, we also suggest you work with your guide in spirit world as well as a human teacher to probe deeper than that which comes naturally, of which we have spoken. So, when I'm writing, especially like writing something like this, but when I'm writing my books, and I think every writer would say this, every artist would say this, we're tapping into something that we're not even aware of, but we're doing it naturally. And that to me is what Philip is saying here. Do it safely. When you tap, what the guide he's speaking of, I call the main guide or the communicator, because you want to make sure when you're working with a spirit guide that you're working with someone you can communicate with. For me, this is a teacher, and I often find for others that's true. And I will tell you, Philip works with many people, not just me. So I do have people who've worked with me who said, Philip's coming to me. And I said, good, you work with him. All right, let's go on. Philip also says, when your intuition gives you an answer for which you seek, you think it comes out of the blue. You have tapped into this energy of which we speak. This is quite natural and that which everyone does. As you grow and tap into the stream of energy with consciously doing so, we suggest you tap into the higher consciousness, which is your spirit self that is aware of all and able to provide you with loving wisdom to allow your life to grow in greater love. The Escape Record holds all energy. Unless you have been trained to tap into the lower energies, why would you? Leave that to those who are trained to do so. Tap then into the higher wisdom, where you will learn that which will help with the healing of your life and all life. Thank you, Phillip. What Phillip is telling us is, whether we call it the Akashic Records, and think of a library that we walk in and pull a record off of. That's one way of looking at it. Whether we think of it as delving into the unconscious, into a sea of wonder, that's another way of thinking of it. Whether we look up into the vast universe and think of it that way, it doesn't matter exactly how we think of it. The energy is the energy, and everything is energy. So tapping into our spirit self, that's our higher consciousness, and that is connected to all of the energy. Let's just tap in safely, and let's tap into the higher wisdom that's going to help us make our lives better, to heal those issues in our lives that we've come into this life experience to heal. It also helps us tap into, again, those parts of our other selves, 200 worlds over, in other parallel lives that we're living at the same time we're living these lives. And it helps us tap in to help not only our life, but all life. The more we live in love, the higher we take our lives or our consciousness, the more we bring our spirit self into our human self. Easy? I don't think so. Doesn't necessarily make it easy, but it does make life more meaningful. And that, my friends, is what's important. My book, The Found Child, does talk some about this. Honestly, I don't remember, not about the Akashic Records per se, but it's coming to mind, so I just want to mention it. Somebody might have an idea and remember better than I. But I know when I go back, and I think this is true of most writers, when I go back and I reread one of my books, I go, who wrote this? There's some wisdom in here. Diana, don't have that wisdom. Or if I go back and I read an old journal, which I always advise people to do, you'll be shocked and surprised at your own wisdom. So go back and read your journals. Let's get our message for this week, shall we? There we go. I'm kind of getting that, may be it. And then there are a couple of pages after that I'm seeing. I'm not sure which page is right. So what we're going to do, and we're going to read both. We did that last week too, didn't we? Where we had two different pages. Now, if you heard right, you and I are in sync in our intuition. If you heard left, the messages I'm going to read are for you. But the messages I'm going to read on the right are for all of us. So here we go. No one but you can be you. No one but you can be you. And our other message is, when you seek revenge, it is upon yourself that it will fall. When you seek revenge, it is upon yourself that it will fall. So we probably don't want to seek revenge. We want to look at what's going on, that this is coming into our life. Okay. If you heard left, these are these two messages you need to pay attention to. And the first one is, an open hand can hold no weapon. An open hand can hold no weapon. And the other left is it not more difficult to hear when shouting than when whispering? Is it not more difficult to hear when shouting than when whispering? These are interesting messages that we got this week. And they all four kind of come back to, no one but you can be you. And if you remember that, then you don't have to hold a weapon. You don't have to seek revenge. And we don't have to shout. We can whisper, because we're important. You, my friend, are very important. Your love is important in your life, but also it gives so much to the world. And I want you to love. Hopefully the internet was working while we recorded this. And I'm sorry I didn't see any of you come live. So I am kind of wondering if the internet is working okay. But it does say we're live, so I'm going to trust that. and say, I love all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for these really interesting and marvelous questions that you send in. I will see some of you tonight at Sacred Circle by Zoom. We're going to do this online. There is still a little time left, not much, but an hour or so left that you can still sign up for Sacred Circle tonight if you so desire. Just go to my website, which is just my name, dianarankin.com, and learn more about Sacred Circle. I will see you later, my friends. Enjoy the day. Enjoy your life. I love you. Thank you for receiving the love I send to you. And thank you for the love that you send to me. Bye for now.